Free agency is approaching, and we have some valuable advice for all 32 NFL GMs, so listen up. What's up, everyone? Before we start, we just want to let you know about our awesome giveaway at the end of the month, where we'll be giving away $500 cash to 3 lucky subscribers. Consider this our way of giving back to you, the fans of TPS who helped to make this all possible. To be entered into the contest, all you need to do is subscribe and have your notifications on. And you've got to be commenting on our videos regularly throughout the month. So make sure you hit that bell along with liking and commenting on our videos. If you're already subscribed and have notifications on, then all you need to do is like and comment, and you'll be automatically entered into the random draw. Good luck. There are several high-profile free agents that come with a lot of risk. These guys are likely to get overpaid by desperate teams. Let's just say if we were GM for a day, we'd advise against signing these 10 players. Number 10, Sammy Watkins. With a Super Bowl 54 victory on his resume, Watkins has already achieved the ultimate football dream. That said, at this point, we just have to accept that he'll never become the top-flight superstar many envisioned when the Buffalo Bills drafted him 4th overall in 2014. Watkins' inconsistent production with the Bills led him to being traded to the Los Angeles Rams in 2017. But even the crafty Sean McVay couldn't help unlock Watkins' full potential. Looking to load up on weapons for Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs signed him to a 3-year deal worth $48 million in 2018 free agency. Watkins missed 14 regular season games from 2018 to 2020. His stat line during that time? 129 receptions for 1,613 yards and 8 touchdowns. Aside from a couple of clutch playoff performances, like his performance in the 2018 AFC Championship game or his catch over Richard Sherman in Super Bowl 54, Watkins never really lived up to that hefty contract. Yes, he's had to fight for targets with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, but if he couldn't become a Pro Bowl talent with Mahomes, and if he couldn't get it done in Buffalo or Los Angeles, can you really expect Watkins to suddenly break out now? Watkins is a fine number 3 receiving option for a team like the Green Bay Packers or New England Patriots, who need to bolster their receiving depth. But no receiver-needy team should even think about giving Watkins a multi-year deal, and no one should expect him to drastically upgrade their offense. Watkins is simply a complimentary option at this point of his career, and one that's not worth overpaying for. Number 9, Sheldon Rankins. Rankins may be an intriguing reclamation project to several teams, and understandably so. The New Orleans Saints drafted the defensive tackle out of Louisville with the number 12 selection in 2016. Unfortunately, injuries prevented Rankins from ever living up to those high expectations in the Big Easy. He only played 16 games in a season twice. He missed 17 games over his first 5 seasons with New Orleans, and the production was lackluster. Aside from 8 sacks in the 2018 campaign, Rankins just never showed signs of potential stardom. There's no chance the cap-strapped Saints retain him in his 17.5 career sacks. But it'll be interesting to see how the other 31 NFL teams perceive Rankins' value at this point. Ultimately, it'll be up to them to decide if his injury history and his inconsistent production are worth the risk. Number 8, Jared Cook. Speaking of New Orleans players, Cook was a nice free agency addition for the Saints, posting 16 touchdown receptions over his 2 years there. So why is he on the list? Well, I don't know. Maybe because of the fact that he'll be 34 years of age in 2021, which is pretty old for a tight end. Or how about the fact that his production has been rather mediocre and inconsistent, even while playing for one of the top passing attacks in the league in the Big Easy. Not to mention that Cook drove the Saints crazy with his fumbling issues, including his game-changing gaffe in the 3rd quarter of their divisional round loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, I don't know. Do teams want to overpay for an aging veteran with unreliable hands who simply won't produce similar results outside of a Sean Payton-coached offense? Unless he's willing to take a cheap 1-year pact, we advise teams to look elsewhere for their next tight end. Number 7, Ndamukong Suh. The Buccaneers got tremendous value out of Suh, who worked nicely in a limited role for Todd Bowles' defense. Thing is, a lot of teams tend to get overly excited about a player's name and often tend to ignore said player's current level of production. Take Suh, for example. The dude just won a Super Bowl, and he had a decent rebound year with 6 sacks. So it all adds up to this guy very possibly being overpaid in free agency. But come on now. The last time Suh was a Pro Bowler was back in 2016. He's not a regular starter anymore, and Pro Football Focus gave him a mere grade of 61.8 in 2020. I can just see a desperate team with a lot of cap space handing Suh a multi-year deal worth something close to $10 million a season, which would be pretty crazy. Honestly, Suh's best bet would probably be to finish his career in Tampa Bay, but we're sure someone else will entice him with a lot of money, and it'll be the biggest mistake of that team's offseason. Don't say we didn't warn you. Number 6. AJ Bouye. Bouye has been in the NFL since 2013. He's had 2 good seasons up to this point. After enjoying a breakout year with the Houston Texans in 2016, Bouye signed with their AFC South foes, the Jacksonville Jaguars. He earned his first career Pro Bowl and second-team All-Pro nods, guiding the Jaguars all the way to the AFC Championship game. But Bouye's production declined in 2018 and 2019. A trade to the Denver Broncos in 2020 didn't amount to much. A suspension and injuries limited him to 7 games, and in those contests, Bouyea struggled mightily. He allowed a 65.7 completion percentage when targeted for 273 yards and 2 touchdowns. And at this point, I'm just not seeing how Bouyea will suddenly rebound in his age 30 season. We all know that cornerbacks tend to experience a decline once they escape their 20s after all. The free agent class has several quality cornerbacks, including Richard Sherman, William Jackson III, Desmond King, Xavier Rhodes, and Troy Hill, while the 2021 draft includes some can't-miss products like Caleb Farley and Patrick Surtain. So, unless a team wants to sign Bouyea on the cheap for the sake of bolstering their cornerback depth, this is someone to avoid. He's barely starting caliber anymore, but you can just imagine someone overpaying Bouyea for his past production. Number 5. Todd Gurley. After he was released by the Rams, the 2017 Offensive Player of the Year signed a 1-year prove-it deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Unfortunately, Gurley's down 2019 season in Los Angeles was really just a signal of the cold hard truth that he's not a dynamic game-changing force anymore, and that fact became even more obvious during his 1-year stop in Atlanta. Though Gurley scored an admirable 9 rushing touchdowns, he only averaged 3.5 yards per carry, finishing with 678 yards on the season. He wasn't much of a factor in the passing game either, with just 25 catches for 164 yards. We wanted to see a big-time bounce-back year from Gurley, but it's clear that the knee problems have taken their toll. Unless teams are keen on signing him as a goal line back or something, it'd be wise to look at other alternatives in free agency or at the draft. As hard as it is to accept, this guy's prime years are already long gone. Number 4. Jadeveon Clowney. It's hard to understand why Jadeveon Clowney hasn't reached that elite level that many expected from him up to this point. Remember how highly touted he was in 2014? Even the QB-needy Houston Texans couldn't pass him up with the first overall selection. Clowney finally broke out in 2016, earning the first of what would be 3 straight Pro Bowl selections. But good old Bill O'Brien dealt him to the Seattle Seahawks for a minimal return ahead of the 2019 season. Clowney surprisingly struggled in Seattle, tallying just 3 sacks on the year. He took his time picking his next destination in 2020 free agency before signing a 1-year pact with the Tennessee Titans. A knee injury limited Clowney to 8 games in 2020. He had 0 sacks and 6 QB hits on the year. Following consecutive unproductive seasons, it's evident that Clowney's best bet is again to sign a 1-year deal with the goal of resetting his market for 2022. But we're sure someone out there will overpay Clowney as if he's coming off another Pro Bowl-like season. The smart move for teams in need of a disruptive pass rusher would be to pursue the likes of J.J. Watt, Shaq Barrett, and Bud Dupree. But just watch. Some teams will miss out on those 3 guys and end up paying Clowney well above what he's actually worth. Number 3. Patrick Peterson. The 8-time Pro Bowler is a lock for the Hall of Fame. But Father Time has apparently set in on the Arizona Cardinals legend. Peterson had a frustrating 2019 season, having missed the first 6 games due to a PED suspension. There was hope that he'd bounce back in 2020, but Peterson's rapid decline continued. He allowed 53 completions for 662 receiving yards on 79 targets, as well as 5 touchdowns in coverage. So his shortened 2019 campaign was really just a sign of things to come. we wouldn't hate the idea of a win-now team like the Chiefs, Packers, or Saints signing Peterson to a short-term deal. But any club who's preparing to break the bank for Peterson will be greatly disappointed. This man isn't anything close to a Pro Bowler anymore, and it's hard to see him returning to that form in his age 31 season. But so many teams are devoid of capable starting corners, and Peterson's name value probably means he gets overpaid once free agency opens. Number 2. Le'Veon Bell. Bell's decision to sit out the entire 2018 season cost him a lot of money and possibly a Hall of Fame career. I wonder if he regrets that decision. Anyways, fans and pundits often pointed to rust and Adam Gase's terrible coaching as key factors that led to Bell's struggles with the New York Jets. And while that could be the case, when we got a fresh start with the Chiefs, Bell didn't really produce a whole lot there either. Even Andy Reid couldn't help Bell get anywhere close to that once dominant Pro Bowl form he showed in Pittsburgh. In 9 regular season appearances, Bell had just 254 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 63 carries. The thing is, we've seen teams fall for the trap of believing that a past his prime running back can shine if they get a second chance. But that's obviously not always the case. Not even close. Just look at guys like LaShawn McCoy or the aforementioned Todd Gurley. There are just so many good running backs out there. You don't need to spend big on them. Because several clubs need a workhorse number 1 running back, it wouldn't surprise us if somebody overpaid Bell on a multi-year deal. But we're warning you, these teams need to simply avoid signing Bell unless he'll take a cheap 1-year pact. But we're talking about a guy who already sat out an entire year because he wanted more money. Do you really think he's keen on playing at a discounted rate? Yeah, I don't think so. Number 1. Antonio Brown. After Brown served his 8-game suspension, there were doubts about him earning another chance following ugly departures from 3 teams within a 6-month span. But Tom Brady persuaded the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to sign the mercurial wide receiver, even though Bruce Arians previously ruled out the possibility of bringing him in.
What's the likelihood AB gets back in Tampa?
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
There you go.
Not going to happen. There's no room.
Yeah.
And probably not enough money, but it's just not going to happen. It's not a fit here.
If he says, I'm coming in on the veteran minimum, coach, I just want to play with Tom, you still wouldn't find a way to get him in?
No.
Is it just because you don't trust what he could do to the culture? Why so steadfast that you would not give it a chance?
Yeah, I just know him, and it's not a fit in our locker room.
In a very limited role, Brown finished with 45 receptions for 483 yards and 4 touchdowns. He added 2 scores in Tampa Bay's playoff run en route to Super Bowl 55 championship. But for a variety of reasons, any team not named the Bucs would be wise to avoid Brown. His behavior is too unpredictable, and his me-first personality can show up when you least expect it. The Bucs received a lot of criticism for bringing Brown back. Do any of the other NFL teams even want to consider that? Also, Brown doesn't look like a number 1 receiver anymore, and he's about to enter his age 33 season. This year's wide receiver free agent class is loaded with talent, and teams who strike out on the open market can always look to the 2021 draft, which is once again expected to produce some high-end pass-catching prospects. If Brown plays in 2021, it should be with the Bucs. He's already quit on 3 other teams, but he seems happy working with Brady and Arians. And again, the other teams that may have interest in Brown would be better off finding younger, better receivers in free agency or the draft. Bottom line is, AB needs Brady to keep him under control. So the other 31 teams without the GOAT as their quarterback should probably just stay away. But what other players should teams stay away from in 2021 free agency? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.